we're grown-ups, right? Like, let's be realistic.
I know.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
I can promise everybody that you will pass one day.
I'm Sara Jane Ho, and this is Mind Your Manners, where no topic is off limits as we uncover the secrets to feeling at ease in every situation. What's the one thing every single one of us will face, but almost no one wants to talk about? Death. Today's guest is someone who's transforming how we think about it and how we prepare for it. QuyenZi Pham is the founder of Hello, I'm Dead, a platform that reframes end-of-life planning as an act of love and empowerment. Born in Vietnam, raised in Iowa, and now based in LA, QuyenZi was moved to start this work during the pandemic, especially after the 2021 Atlanta spa shootings, which took the lives of 6 women of Asian descent. As an Asian American woman, it hit close to home and pushed her to confront a deep cultural taboo. In many Asian families, even talking about death is considered bad luck. Her story resonated with me. When my own mother passed away, my father was left to untangle a painful mess of logistics and paperwork. He eventually created a binder with everything that I would ever need, so I wouldn't go through the same. In that spirit, today's episode is about normalizing what we've been taught not to talk about, and how preparing for death can actually be one of the most loving things we do for the people we leave behind. QuyenZi, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
I remember when we first met and you told me the name of this website, helloimdead.com.
Uh-huh.
And immediately I was like, wow, it just, I could exactly see what it was about because it's so direct, but it's also so simple and it's so straightforward. And so what is Hello, I'm Dead actually offering and how is it changing the conversation?
So I didn't know the name of it yet, but I was talking to somebody on a road trip, and he was like, when I die, I actually want to be able to send a text to everyone, like, hello, I'm dead. And so that was when I was like, this is it. This is the name. This is how it's going to work. And then, on this road trip, I'm like, but instead of just saying like, hello, I'm dead, why don't you leave them a specific message? So one, you can send a mass text to everyone, or you can write your goodbye to each individual. And then I started thinking and you can send maybe not a so nice goodbye, maybe an F you're an awful human being to me, but it doesn't send until you die. So then
you have the last word.
Yes. And guess what? You're gone. But think about how therapeutic that is to write these goodbyes, the good, bad, and ugly, before you send. And then, so that got carved into this platform. So right now it was just a bunch of think of a board with a bunch of sticky notes, like it should do this, it should do that. And so Hello, I'm Dead was solidified about 1.5 years ago when I was like, it's going to be a platform, a digital platform. It is, we have Facebook for the living. I want Hello, I'm Dead.
For the dead.
For the
about to die, which is everybody.
Yes. And then when I was going to do as you mentioned, my own will, in the beginning it was the will, but then I was like, there's certain things like my jewelry or shoe collection, I'm not going to leave that to my son. And so I would want to leave it to my nieces or some dear friends. And I don't think I have to write a will every single time I want to give something to somebody I care about. So Hello, I'm Dead has different services. In the front end, it is a social media platform. You can create a living memorial for yourself or for someone who has passed. And then in the back end, in the dashboard, you can do several things. You can connect with other people and then write your legacy wishes. So I would like to give this, or I would like to donate this.
And you can take a photo and tag it, right?
Yes. And you can tag the person you want to either receive or handle this legacy wish. And then the second part is memorial plans. Look, I'm a big events person. This comes from our we love a good party. I mean, and if you can integrate, fun items, flowers, decor. I mean, we spend so much time and money on birthdays and weddings. Why not plan your biggest and best celebration to honor you, who you were, or someone you love the way they fully lived? Like, so when you sign up for Hello I'm Dead, you go through this quiz. Like, is this for you? Is this for a pet? Is this for a loved one? What is the tone? It's so we have different tones,
So the
right?
tone I checked was I'm a rock star.
Okay, so then that's going to lead down a whole different journey for your planning. And so the other tool is the memorial planning or
Mhm.
end of life celebration, because as
Yeah.
we know in different cultures and countries, it's celebrated so differently. And we want to say a celebration, right? This person, this is their biggest and best like goodbye. So
Yeah.
let's honor them the way they want to, whether it's a green memorial or a party. And then the last part, as I talked about, is the messaging, right? What is it that you want to say that's in your heart now? And you just store it in, the Hello I'm Dead's cloud, your file, as you will. And then when you are either ready to send it, you can send it, or you can delegate somebody to send it when you pass.
Yeah, I love that. And I want to go into each of those things. But first, I want to talk about why we don't talk about death.
Oh, yes.
Because I feel that especially in Asian cultures, discussing death, even in hypothetical contexts, like, wills or funeral arrangements, it's believed to invite bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people, even our age, are afraid to discuss it with our elderly parents who are in their 60s or 70s or even 80s.
It is definitely a stigma. But interesting enough, I mean, we're all so grown up. We're grown-ups, right? Like, let's be
Yeah.
realistic.
I know.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
I can promise everybody that you will pass one day. Speaking about it is actually a cultural taboo in the Asian culture. But if you also think about the Asian culture, we celebrate like our ancestors all the time.
Yeah,
right?
we have specific days for celebrations. We have Tomb Sweeping
Yes.
Day. We have Hungry Ghost Festival.
Yes. Yes. So for me, I really want to change this stigma. And I have also realized like Hello I'm Dead is not going to be for very traditional people or older people. I'm not here to change people's minds.
Yeah.
I am here to provide tools and a place where we can share space and talk about it and honor those who have passed. So there's different ways we can use it. But what I'm learning, so our data actually shows that after COVID, the top 4 causes of death, so you can clump in all the heart disease, lung disease, COVID, and the fourth, guess what the number 4 cause of death is in the world?
Heart attack?
Accidents.
Oh, accidents.
So we don't know when we're going to go. So accidents. So this is what I said to my parents. You don't want to leave us stressing and arguing and fighting over all of these things. So we don't have to talk about actual death, but we should plan for it in case something happens so that the flowers are done right, the church is selected because they're Catholic. And so that changed their mindset. Like, how do we, because Asians, we don't like to be burdens, and we don't.
That's true.
And
Asians don't like to burden other people.
Yes.
Why is that?
It's
like it's out of like too much consideration for other people. Maybe
it is.
We don't like to. Yeah.
So if you come from that approach and you talk to Asians about
That's
it,
right.
My mom was like, "Oh, that's right. I don't want, and I want this," and she was like, "I want to be buried here," and it actually opened up a lot of conversation because those are the things they don't talk about, right?
Yeah.
But to talk about it one-on-one with someone you love, I realized it was so healing for my parents to talk about it in that way.
Right. It's really about how you couch it. So
Yes.
instead of it being, because a lot of the times, and I see this, I mean, in Hong Kong families, like I hear about stories where somebody tried to talk to their father about family planning after his death, even when he's very sick. And it was and he was immediately seen as disrespectful and disloyal for even bringing it up. But if you couch it as like, we don't want to burden everybody, you can get the things done the way you want.
Yes.
Which is also how
Yes.
Asian parents are. They're very controlling. They like things done their way.
Correctly, right? Or if you make it about like, well, how do you want to be remembered when we
Yeah.
honor you? Like, what
Yes.
do you want your great-great-grandchildren who you may never meet to know about you? Because currently, my grandparents are a black and white photo, and I know nothing about their story.
Exactly the same.
Every time we pay honor to them, it's like, I would love to have known more about her. So what I do talk to my parents or elders about, it's so interesting. There's two approaches to Hello, I'm Dead. It is for the planning person, right? That person who's like, I want everything done like this, leave this, I don't want any loose ends. And then the person who has a story to tell.
Right. And then how the way they're honored. I do think, like you said, this is for a particular generation of people. Like our parents are not going to be using this.
Yes.
It's going to be millennials using it.
Yes. And Gen Xers. So
and below, yeah, exactly.
Definitely not boomers. So we've done the data.
Boomers.
We've done the data. And again, like there's one thing you learn in marketing. Not everyone is your user. Not everyone is your audience. And you know what? Learn who your audience is. And that's who you build the service or the product for. And so boomers are not really going to be part of this unless they were brought in by their Gen Xer. So Gen Xers are actually triple users, right?
So Gen Xers are how old?
They are between 45 and 55.
45 and 55, and boomers are 55 plus. Right.
Yes.
So boomers are our parents.
Yes.
Okay. And then well, I'm a millennial, so that's like between.
That's after Gen X.
Yeah, that's after Gen X.
Yeah. So interesting enough, millennials are going to be the second highest number of users, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The Gen Xers are the triple users. They are, the generation that were latchkey kids, so had to take care of themselves, their siblings, and now as they get older, taking care of their parents, right, or their elders. So they are planning now, like handling stuff for mom, dad, aunties, uncles. And then they plan for themselves, like me. I'm a Gen Xer, so that's when I was like, okay, I got to get my will done because if I pass, like all the things I've done, like where's this all going to go? And it's, I want to make sure I delegate. And then for my son. So when I leave, I have very specific instructions for him. And it's kind of interesting because it's like, well, you're not getting anything unless you don't do these things.
Oh, that's so Asian of you.
It is. Or I'll give it to
you're controlling him from the afterlife.
Of course, I have to. In case something happens, again, an accident happens. God forbid it doesn't. But if it happens, you know what? He's taken care of. But also, he needs to be a good person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So millennials,
which is me,
we have done studies. Millennials, because they have so much access to digital platforms and social media. You are the generation of social media, but also mental health. Millennials are more open to talking about things that scare them, that they fear. They believe in seeking therapy. And they're more interested in the experience than the tradition. So this is
the
where
UX, the user experience.
Yes, and think about millennials rather spend money on the honeymoon than the wedding, right? They rather. So Hello, I'm Dead is great for millennials. In that it is they're not going to use Facebook. Millennials.
Yeah,
are like,
we already stopped using Facebook a while ago.
See, and so
I was a year behind Mark Zuckerberg in high school.
I was the first.
We talked about this. I was the early adopter, but I mean, nobody. Yeah, now boomers use.
Yes, and it's hard to get them off it, and they still are posting death things on. But it's so funny. You ask a boomer to put something on Hello, I'm Dead, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to put my public information on there." I'm like, "Hi, I see you on Facebook all the time."
Exactly.
So it's really interesting. But yes, I'm not trying to change their minds.
It's interesting to see, like, in terms of the avoidance of death, there are differences between how the Eastern cultures and Western cultures fail in that aspect. And I think from the Eastern culture, what you just mentioned was sort of the silence. There's saving face. There's also a lot of superstition. And in Chinese culture, the number 4 is associated with death because it sounds like it's like 4 is 4 and 死 is death. And so anything that's a floor of an apartment ending in a 4, or a license number or a phone number, like those are all avoided.
Clocks. Yep.
Yeah, and in fact, when you go to Chinese apartment buildings, and this is the case for even Hong Kong, in addition to mainland China, if you go into an apartment building and press the lift, you won't even see the number 4.
Yeah.
It'll be like 1, 2, 3. It'll be like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and they'll be like 11, 12, 13,
Yes.
15, and just completely jump over it.
Yes. And I've worked with casinos and resorts through my marketing agency. And we also have to remove the 4 in the phone number and the elevator.
Yes.
So totally interesting. And I don't know if you know this too, but because of yin and yang, like when in Vietnamese culture, when you see a wedding, it's bad luck. So when you go to a funeral, it's actually good luck. So it's
yeah, Chinese don't see it that way. Yeah, for us, it's like if you're going to in fact, you even want to be very selective about funerals.
Yeah.
Because in Chinese culture, because you don't want to get that negative yin energy.
Yes.
So I generally avoid funerals unless it's like a family member or someone very close to me.
So
in which case I wear red underwear
Oh.
to save me from like yin spirits.
See, I haven't heard that one, but I have heard. So I was recently at a cousin's funeral, and my mom is next to me, and I'm like, God, Mom, what did you eat like for breakfast?
Oh yes,
garlic.
Because garlic is very yang energy, and it scares away spirits.
Garlic in her pocket, and I was like, "What is that smell?" And I didn't realize that. She's like, "Oh, so we don't get the bad spirits." And I'm like, first of all, he's our cousin. I don't really feel like he's gonna come haunt us. And then 2, I was like, "Mom, like, don't sit next to me next time." It was so bad.
That's so funny. My dad's exactly the same. And in his car, he has a horsetail whisk.
Yeah.
It's literally it's like a whip made of horsetail. And whenever he feels there's yin energy around, So in the East, I feel like we have, silence, superstition, and saving face. But in the West, we have this myth of control and eternal youth.
Yes.
Where we see aging and death as failures to be fought as opposed to transitions that should be accepted. And I feel that brings so much more stress at end of life because you're so unprepared for it. And there are these unrealistic expectations of medicine. And so it's almost like the opposite,
It is, but what's interesting about the way the West, and when we say West too, but if you think about Latin cultures, they love celebrating end of life because to them it is the person is going to the afterlife,
right?
So it's an extension. But I think in the West, I think it has a lot to do with religion as well. So depending on if you celebrate in terms of a religious practice, because it was very traditional. But we, like any industry in the West, though, the death industry makes money.
Oh, yeah.
So these unrealistic, traditions or practices for ceremonies when it comes to funerals and memorials, it's kind of a racket as well.
In the West as well, because I'm sure it is in the East too. I mean, all the things we had to do. I mean, I don't want to disrespect the temple that we because my mom passed away when I was 21. And there were so many ceremonies we had to do. It was like 6-hour ceremonies. You have to hire like this number of Taoist monks that have to chant for, it was a lot. But in the West, it's also the same?
I do believe so. But I mean, back to your point, do you mean that when you say when it comes to like beauty, or do you mean like
I think in the West
flowers and the balming and the caskets?
Well, I was just thinking in terms of in the West, it's like even we're sitting in LA, right? And the most celebrated thing right now is everybody's talking about Kris Jenner's facelift.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes.
Which is a fantastic facelift.
I got hit. I know. I got hit with that in my feed too, and I don't even follow. So yes.
But so it's almost like we have to be eternally youthful, and there's no transition to aging in the way that Eastern cultures see you as, let's say like menopause, right? Then it's become like, okay, you've become a wise sage
Yes.
in your elderly.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's interesting that you say that because I feel like Asians are more about eternal youth than
Uh,
the West. No?
well, in terms of like, we always put SPF on our face and we take good
Right,
care
right,
and we see
right.
food as medicine and all those things. But I don't know, maybe because I like maybe what you're seeing is the Asian American circle, and maybe what
Yeah.
I'm seeing is the Asians in Asia,
And yes,
which is a very different,
I do
very
think
different
so.
circle.
I do think so. And it you're right. So Asians here in America, I mean, people are flying back to Korea to get, lifts and plastic surgery and all that. But I think they
But don't get me wrong, Chinese are also flying to Korea for the same things.
yeah, okay, everyone's going to Korea. Um, I think in the West, yes, I think things are based more on superficial material things. And so the way even we practice, funerals or, people are blinging out their caskets now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
I mean,
people,
why not, I guess.
yes, but at the same time, I again, I think it's an age and cultural thing. So like the younger generation and Gen Xers, they're doing green burials now, so you can actually compost your body.
Oh, I kind of like that. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, but then there's
Hmm.
also the embalming where the looks. Yeah, they can plastic surgery your face when you die for the viewing. So you can actually look like you did at 21.
That's scary.
If you pay the
I
person
think
enough money,
I think
yes.
you would scare your kids if you did that.
Exactly.
So okay, so we have the silence of death and the stigma of death,
Mhm.
and how silence can cause unnecessary stress
Yes.
and mess
Yes.
for families. There's also the pain of being unprepared emotionally and logistically,
Yes.
especially when it comes to accidents.
Yes.
So, can we put together a before you go checklist where we go through kind of what to do at every age, right? Because it's never too early or too late
Yeah.
to get your legacy in order. And what age should we start?
If you think about this as therapy and healing and planning, so mind your manners. It's learning things so that you can take care of them ahead of time, right? It removes a stress and it actually builds confidence, right? Knowing how to do things properly. And that properly is up to you what it is. So the age now, because
Yeah, but what age? I mean, I'm 39 now. You're
51.
okay. Wow, you look amazing for 51.
Thank you.
But our listeners out there could be anything from 18
Mhm,
to 80.
mhm.
So you're saying like if you haven't already put your affairs in order, do so now.
Mhm.
But I think maybe your 30s is kind of a good time to start.
30s, I mean, honestly, it is when you want to. So it's really hard. The way people look at death, end of life, right? It's an extension of life and it's the next phase. So when you want to approach that next phase, it's up to you, right? It's like going to school or learning a skill. When do you want to do it? It's really up to you. So I can't give a, and I'm saying this
Okay.
because I have young Gen Zers actually loving this app. Like they love talking about anything and they will talk about it. And they're like, well, is AI going to help me write it? So because there's different features, right? You don't have to plan. So you may not be ready to plan a legacy because you don't have anything. You're in college, right? But you
Yeah.
could write your last goodbyes. If something happens to you tomorrow, what did you say or didn't get to say to people that you love or again who hurt you? It's therapy. We go to therapy and we tell a stranger, a doctor,
Yeah.
our good, bad, and ugly, right? We don't tell them because we want them to know or hear it. We tell them because
It's for the sake of ourselves speaking it
yes,
out.
to
Okay.
speaking it.
But
So
I do want to put together a checklist for
yes,
our
okay,
listeners out
okay,
there,
okay,
right?
got it.
And if we say like, oh, we can't tell you what age that
Yes.
it's like,
Okay,
okay,
so-
so let's start with in your 30s, where I
Yes.
think you should be laying the foundation.
Yes.
Like, what are the things we should at least have in our 30s? Is it a will? Right?
No, we don't need a will at 30. Unless you are very successful and have material things. To me, a will is for material things. It's literally like I have these assets. A will is for anything you don't want to leave to the government because they will take
Ah.
it if you don't delegate it to your finances,
And by the way,
especially.
if it's the US government, even if it is something you leave in your will, if your children are US citizens, the US government will still take part of it.
Yeah, take a percentage. It's crazy. So, let's make sure that's taken care of. So you have a material asset,
Mm-hmm.
then yes. So in terms of age, I wouldn't say, it's more in terms of resources, whatever you have in terms of assets. So let's talk about assets. So if you have assets in your 30s, you actually should do it. If you don't, not
You
necessary.
can put it off.
Yes.
Okay. And if you do have a will, should you designate a power of attorney?
Yes. Yes, because they will manage it. Depending on what age I have one because when I created my son was not an adult. So
Mhm.
he would be left with everything. But again, there were rules and stipulations and, he can't take that money and go to Vegas or, get married and his new wife takes half, right? So, because he's such a lover and he would do that. He wouldn't have a prenup. So those are the things that, you have to think about if you're leaving your assets to someone. So a power of attorney, yes. Someone they're like a business manager.
Someone who you trust,
Yes.
right, to make financial and medical
Yes.
decisions.
Yes.
So
Yes.
is it like a good friend, your best friend?
A good friend, a partner, someone you trust. I have two. So one would be my sister, but she's older than me, right? So if something happens to her, then who?
So you have a backup.
Yes.
Okay. And what about digital life? I mean, I feel like when my mom passed away, and I mean, now everybody has this whole digital life, right? You have accounts, you have logins, you have passwords, usernames. I feel that that's a huge part of handing that down to your kids or whoever if when you go.
You think about it, is that binder your father created?
Yes.
It is like a digital binder that has everything in a cloud. And everyone is going to be like, security, cybersecurity. I'm like, someone can break in your house and steal that folder. It's like you have to decide what you trust, whether it's more important for you to settle things and take care of things, or if someone's going to hack into your account and steal things.
I mean, I read somewhere that hackers can hack into anything and they will have our credit cards anyway. It's just a matter of if they choose to do it or not.
Yes. There's been like many, many breaches that you're probably not even aware you were part of.
Yeah.
But yes. And so we're in the digital age. Again, not everyone's going to use this platform. They're going to do the old school. I wrote it down. I got an attorney. Yeah. And that's fine.
I put it in a binder.
If that's your approach, if you want to do it.
And then when do you begin is 30 is a good time to begin the conversation? Like if you're 30, should you be sitting your parents down, talking to your parents about your wishes?
Yes. And
even if it feels premature.
Yes. But mind you are 30, but your parents
I'm 39.
are...
Okay. Oh, yeah. But thank you.
You look great too. But you can also be planning for someone else, right? Like this is a conversation, like you're 30, your parents are 60. So in the manner that like I created an account for me at 30, but really the profile is my mother's because I want to remember her. So let's start working on this together. Let's plan together. Mm-hmm. So you're not necessarily just planning for yourself. You can create a digital memorial for your pet.
Yeah, which people really into these days.
So many.
I have one of my former staff in Shanghai. He went to work for a pet funeral company, and it is making bank.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other industry and leaving legacy too and events. But 30, I think 30 is a good age because you are more digitally savvy.
Yeah.
You have some assets and either you're going to plan for yourself or somebody else, whether it is a lost pet or a lost family member. And then that may inspire you to create, these messages or leave simple things, right? And maybe not a full will. Mm-hmm. In your 40s and 50s, you most likely have children now.
Okay, yeah. So, let's move on to the 40s where it's sort of like you expand and you organize, right? Like you have kids.
Yes.
So what do we add onto that?
So you have kids, you have businesses. Now you have retirement funds.
Right.
You don't really think about that. And Social Security. Remember, your Social Security is a retirement fund in a way. So all that money that's been, sent to this place, that matters to where does that go if you do pass before you.
I mean, yeah, where does it go? Do your kids get access to it, or
No, yeah, but they have to prove it and they have to fight for it, and then the
wait,
government.
what do they have to prove? I mean, they are your kids.
They have to go to court and say, I am their descendant. You have to prove it to the courts, and then the court will release it. So yeah, so however, if that's included in your will already, these are my descendants, this is what they get, this is my accounts, then it's better off. Now, if it's contested, they still have to go to court. And I don't know if the government contests it, or if another family member contests it, or the husband or wife, or the new husband or wife. So there's so many complexities.
Right.
Yes, but in your 40s and 50s, this is when you should plan everything. Yeah, I do believe that anything can happen at any time, and like I said, no one planned for a global pandemic.
Right. I mean, that was nuts. I had people I knew who were so healthy who really suffered or left from getting COVID.
And God forbid you ever, lose a child or a younger family member before yourself, but that has happened. And
of course.
During COVID, actually, I lost a few cousins who are my age, and their parents outlived them. So you just never know. And I'm not saying this to scare people.
No, but it's true. It's
yes. And again, I just feel like I wish people honored those lost more than a quick, one-day funeral, Facebook plug. And
we're having everything rushed.
Yes. And it kind of breaks my heart. And there are a lot of people in different communities. So 40s, 50s, but you are in the LGBTQ community and you don't have family or friends to rely on to either leave something to or help you through it, or even execute your final wishes, your funeral for you. So you rely on your community to be there to support you. There's a whole queer death community.
Wow. Why?
Because
is it because a lot of people who come out of the closet, they kind of get abandoned by their family members?
Yes. And maybe their family is very religious, or politics. If you're estranged from your family, Hello I'm Dead is so important to have your community support you and help you.
Yeah. So maybe your 40s is also a good time to outline funeral wishes.
Yes.
If you have kids.
Yes.
And what are the main things we should be thinking about there? I remember when my mom, because she had terminal liver cancer, and it was terminal. And she already chose a photo that she liked, and she said, I want this to be my funeral photo. Mm-hmm. And that was the one did we even use that one? Oh shoot, I think my dad chose something else.
See? No. Oh no.
I think my dad was, I think we ended up choosing something a bit more where she looked more formal. Because
that's what he wanted to see. See? Don't you hate it even when you're with friends and they post a photo of you and you're like, I look awful in this photo, but they loved it, right? So I feel like it's very important that I specifically will be like, these are the photos you're using. I already laid out the album for you. I created the whole video for you because that's the kind of person I am. But you'll be able to do those things on Hello I'm Dead and be like, nope, you're not creating it's always the person who's the worst at doing that stuff, right? I'm going to delegate it to my sister who's on social media all the time. I'm like, she'll create the video, So yeah.
And then another thing I think is good to think about is if you want to be buried in a cemetery, or if you want your ashes put in an urn, which is put into a columbarium.
Yes.
Right, which is the wall where they have all the different niches and urns.
Right. Or a family member can take the ashes with them wherever they want, right?
Yeah, although technically, at least in Chinese feng shui culture, it's you don't want those urns to be roaming around. You want a quiet setting for them to be in.
See, that's very different from the West. And the Westerners
throw
me in the ocean.
Yeah, throw me in the ocean, which is
Also, you have to have a license, by the way, to scatter ashes in a public place. Not that anyone is going to follow that, but it's. I do also think that's kind of lame. That that is a law. I think that's an unnecessary. It's ashes.
It's an unnecessary
right.
unnecessary law. But in feng shui, that's bad. It's bad to scatter a dead person's ashes because then their spirit. It's all scattered. You want them to be in one resting place that's a yin place, right? It's quiet and peaceful.
Yes.
And a place where the descendants can go and worship.
yes.
Because in Chinese culture, we believe that our ancestors actually protect us.
Yes.
And if we don't worship them, that they'll do bad things to us. And if we like are good and we worship them, then they'll like protect us.
Oh, well, see, that's so interesting because like because we're Catholic, I don't practice the Catholic traditions but I was raised that way. It is always a burial. Like you have to bury the body. It could be their ashes, but they have to be buried in a cemetery.
Which is similar to Chinese.
And then on the Asian
in
side,
one
though,
place.
we have the altar, the ancestor altar at our home.
Oh yeah, the ancestral shrine.
Yes.
But that's
yes.
like back in like some village in China for me.
For you. Okay. So we,
Is yours in LA?
Yeah.
It's like in your garden or something?
It's a photo of like.
Okay, with candles lit around it.
Yes, and incense. And so there's not an actual, there's not actual urns or anything that they're buried.
It's a black and white photo.
Yeah, my
you.
grandmother is buried in Vietnam, but we have an altar for her. And the Mexican culture, so they celebrate Dia de los Muertos, and
the Day of the Dead.
Yes, and they have that, but that really is a day to honor their ancestors. So they have altars as well.
Chinese we do have some altars as well, like in a quiet corner in the home. But we would never, like Americans, put the urn like of our ashes in my bedroom on my bedside table.
Also, that is weird to me, and I'm a clean freak, so that is weird.
Well, it's also it's very bad for both you. It's bad feng shui for your house.
Yes,
because those ashes of the dead person are so
carry
and it'll lead to sickness, things not going smoothly.
Yes.
A lot of issues in the home.
And that tradition, that's something, if you do that, right, you can delegate that to either your husband and like, this is exactly what I want and how I want to do it. And like, I know for my mom, she's going to want a very traditional Catholic. She wants to actually be taken back to Vietnam and buried there though. So, and I think the way we think about end of life celebrating or memorialization or funerals is changing too because of a younger generation. And millennials and they're so unique in that they are ready to break traditions if it doesn't serve them.
Yeah.
And death in a way you should be selfish about the way you want it.
Yeah.
It's your thing.
Bang.
It's not about pleasing everybody else because one, you're gone.
Done.
So yes.
Been there, done that.
So right. So in a way, I think that and there are ways to tweak these traditions. So when I pass, actually Hello I'm Dead will also have a nonprofit aspect of it. At one point where we want to plant trees in people's names instead of a tombstone, and you can bury your ashes or spread your ashes or compost. And so you're in a place, but imagine having, parks instead of, trees and forests instead of cemeteries.
Yeah.
Right. But now I'm curious because would that be bad luck though for feng shui? Like, so here's this forest of, is that bad luck for people to come to these forests and trees and gardens?
Well, first of all, Chinese people stay away from cemeteries. Like you only go if you're there to worship your ancestors.
Yes.
Unlike Europeans or Americans who are like, or the British, they're like, oh, it's so romantic to live near a cemetery. Let's go for a stroll in the cemetery as our first date. For Chinese, it's like, no, that's like the worst thing you could do ever. So we really like one specific place where you go, it's well maintained, and you go there to worship. You bring the ancestors' favorite food. So for example, my mother, her favorite was wonton noodles. So every time we go visit her, we bring a little bowl of wonton noodles, some flowers, etc. On the topic of worshiping, I remember so my father's branch. So firstly, let me think how to phrase this. In Chinese culture, if a couple are not placed together in the burial and then worship together, that lineage will all be divorced.
Oh my goodness.
whether divorced
Oh.
or a spouse will die or something, but then
Mhm.
the children, like, they will never have that stay together in their relationships. And the reason I know this is because so my father was divorced before he met my mother, who then
Mhm.
passed away.
Mhm.
All his siblings from that branch, from him, all his full siblings have been divorced, and so far their progeny, so my cousins, were also divorced in this single branch. And I remember when the last one got divorced, my dad was like, "Huh," and he went off to find our feng shui master and said, "Is it just me, or am I seeing a pattern here?" And the feng shui master said to him, "Your parents must not be buried together."
Oh my
And my
gosh.
dad, and polygamy in Hong Kong was legal until 1971.
Right.
My paternal grandmother was not the first wife. So my grandpa was buried in a cemetery in Hong
Yeah.
Kong with his first wife in
Yes.
Happy Valley.
Yes.
But my grandma, when she passed away, there was a big age gap. She passed away much
Yes.
later. She was put in a columbarium in an
Yes.
urn. And so we worship them in separate places. And my feng shui master told my father, that's why. So what he told
Oh,
my father to
wow.
do, because my father was obviously like, I can't move these
Yeah.
bodies and urns around,
Imagine.
was he went to a columbarium
Mhm.
and basically bought two little
Side by
niches
side,
side by
yes.
side where he put the photos and the names, so that at least it's a place where he and I, and our cousins, if they're interested,
Yes.
can go and worship them together, which brings good fortune for my marriage.
Okay, so
I'm 3 years married. Ask me in 20 years. Who
Oh
knows?
my gosh, I know. And also, if we follow this logic, I mean, marriages nowadays end up in divorce,
Oh, 50%. Yeah.
50%.
So, I mean, who cares where if your parents
So
are
there's going to be a lot again. Whoever's selling these side by side places to people are going to make a lot of money
Well, not
because
that many people know this trick, but I do, and
right.
now my listeners know.
Okay,
Okay,
amazing.
so let's move on to when you're in your 50s and your 60s. Because
Yes,
I feel that's when divorces are happening,
yes,
right? And you
yes.
probably need to update stuff.
You do. And it's so easy to go to the sea instead of a written will that you have to also get
Get a
notarized.
lawyer.
You could literally just change, delete this person receiving this and add a new contact or edit and update. And this is the beauty of the digital age. You
And
can
wait, so is it automatically notarized in your platform?
No, it is not.
Oh,
So I want to make it very clear. There will be a legal add-on that we will be doing a partnership with.
hmm,
And if you choose that, then DocuSign, which is legal ways to
right.
sign.
Yes.
But if you really want it, and this is where a will should always go through a real will, right? Like leaving assets, because the court system will not accept, just documents. It does have to be notarized, right? And it has to be uh, sent to the what is it to the city that you live in, so that they have a copy of it. So that, which is different again from legacy planning. You right now can say, I have a bank account and I'm going to leave $50 a month to whatever nonprofit you want. You don't
Hmm.
need a lawyer to do that. Doesn't need to be put in your will. But
Yeah.
now if you want your husband to do that for you when you pass, then yes, that needs to be put in the will. Or you can trust him. And this is where I think it's important that Hello, I'm Dead is about connecting community and family and friends. You are going to trust this person to do the right thing because you asked them to before you pass. So
Hmm.
your best friend, it's like your maid of honor. She
Yeah.
knows her duties because she said yes to being your, maid of honor. And so I want Hello, I'm Dead to connect people again and not make things so transactional. Like, let's do this together.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. And I think in your 50s and 60s, this is especially important because we get
Yes.
divorced, we get remarried,
Yes.
we retire. Sometimes our financial situation will change,
Yes.
right? So it's
Yes.
important to loop in all your loved ones and let
Yes.
trusted people know
Yes.
where documents live and what your plans are. What about in your 70s and beyond? What we should be thinking about?
Um, your the last month or so of your passing, because that is usually when you don't remember. or you don't,
Right.
you forget.
And that's when
Yes.
heirs will start fighting.
Yes.
And then they'll say,
yes.
oh, but he wasn't of sound mind.
Yes. Yes. So you have to really, really start thinking about the legal parts, but also like, this is when if you haven't yet, put those memories, those photos, those videos, those, your legacy wishes together and start executing them before you pass to make sure they're in place. And if you don't have someone, like find someone. So I would, in a later, my dream version of Hello, I'm Dead, we can provide those services for you. We will go, it'll kind of be like Molly Maids meets Uber delivery. Like we can go to your home and clear everything out and delegate to the church or to a nonprofit or to maybe not your actual bloodline, but someone that you loved very much, someone you mentored. So that's when you really start needing to gather all those memories because they're going to be gone, and some people don't care. Some people are like, when I'm gone, it doesn't matter, like burn it all, and fine, we'll burn it for you. If that's what you want. But that's when you really, really start forgetting things. And so hopefully you have someone, whether it is our service or a lawyer or a good friend, to do that for you.
And I think it's also important to have those conversations around your legacy, right? To be sitting down with your kids, with your wife or current wife, ex-wife, blah, blah, blah. And whether it's one-on-one or at the dinner table, and to share your values and your stories and what the plan is.
Yes. And I've been talking to a lot of nurses, oncology nurses. So during end of life and hospice, those are the people talking to, the people who don't have family, or actually they become family. And so those people, like, I want to educate a lot of hospice workers, like, this is our platform and this is how you can use it to help this person.
Well, to thank you for coming onto the pod today, I have a little gift, and this is my feminine care brand, Anti-Vorta. Check it out. Open it up.
I love this. Okay.
It's feminine care that's formulated with traditional Chinese medicinal herbs.
Okay.
And since you said you're 51, that's like entering menopause.
Oh, it's pre, but
peri, and
yes.
I want to move the mic a little closer to you.
Sorry.
So our products help fight vaginal odor and dryness.
Ooh, oh my gosh, and it matches my outfit.
It totally, like, you are so on brand with our colors today.
This is amazing. Thank you. And so necessary. So thank you. I appreciate this.
All right, listeners, make sure you check out helloimdead.com. I've already set up an account. I recommend you can do too. Listeners, thank you for tuning in to Mind Your Manners. Check out my YouTube channel to watch the full episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. This is your host and etiquette life guide, Sara Jane Ho. And remember, no matter what life throws at you, with me in your ear, you got this. I'll see you next Tuesday.